On the 13th of January 1966, Lyndon Johnson appoints first African American cabinet member. Now, on the 13th of January 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson appoints the first African American cabinet member, making Robert C. Weaver head of Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, or HUD, the agency that develops and implements national housing policies and enforces fair pricing and laws for housing, or fair housing laws. In keeping with his vision for a great society, Johnson starts to improve race relations and eliminate urban blights. What that means. As many of the country's African Americans live in rundown inner city areas or on desolate farmland in the Midwest, appointing Weaver was an attempt to show his African American constituencies and voter base that he meant business on both counts of race relations and getting housing sorted out, because even the poor whites were living in desolate stuff, right? Weaver's expertise on social and economic issues concerning urban African Americans was well known. Prior to his appointment as HUD, or HUD Secretary, he held key positions in several Democratic administrations. This guy is kind of like 70 to 80 by this point, right? But the earliest one was under Franklin D. Roosevelt in the mid to late 1930s. He advised the Secretary of the Interior and served as Special Assistant with the Housing Authority. In 1940, he was appointed to the National Defense Advisory Commission and worked to mobilize black workers during World War II. From 1955 to 1959, Weaver served as Rent Commissioner for the state of New York, then went to serve as the head of housing and home finance agencies under President John F. Kennedy. As HUD's senior administrator, Weaver expanded affordable housing programs and in 1968, advocated for the passage of the Fair Housing Act, which prohibited discrimination against any person in the terms, conditions, or privileges of sale or for sale or rental of a dwelling, or in the provisions of services or facilities in connection therewith, like an indoor gym, house, pool, sauna, whatever, right? Because of race, color, religion, sex, familial ties or familial status, national origin, race, religion, creed, right? Weaver and Johnson shared the goal of revitalizing America's urban areas through improvement and improved housing, and the creation of inner city parks and support for African American owned businesses and stuff alike, right? But on the 13th of January, 1966, Johnson would appoint the first African American secretary. Well, I don't know how Americans view it. We have like ministers, and they have like secretaries and like cabinet members, but basically on the 13th of January 1966, Lyndon B. Johnson appoints first African American cabinet member, which is Robert C. Weaver. And yeah, I have to do some black excellence. Everything is not about wars, everything is not about blights, everything is not about financial crashes. Sometimes you need one of those stories where it's like, yeah, the black man did come out on top. But bye bye.